a while, but we're back, I think. So, who we got?
We have me. I'm Trigger Angry. In case you forgot. Sorry, yeah, it's been a while. I don't know how this goes anymore. Next.
I think we're all a bit rusty.
I'm Luke Sutton, formerly known as the 10th Doctor, or Luke 8-0, or Luke 2-0, or the guy who ran Elite Force Files for all those years. Now better known as Deep Space Luke, if you want to add me on PSN. And we also have...
Oh, me? Yeah, okay.
Maybe. Who knows?
Well, there's no one else here, so, hi.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard. It's good to see you.
Been a long year, it seems. Yes.
It has. I need to apologise for my hair. You're going to keep me going. You're going to keep seeing me doing like this because I haven't done anything with it. It's kind of wild and Johnny Bravo-like, and I just don't like it, so...
Well, I guess you'll fix it before February anyway.
Maybe. I don't know.
You're going to see me wear a hat because of the same reason.
And I've got the usual stuff on and this.
Oh,
so.
I think you look great. I love the bow tie. Bow ties are cool, but you look suave, man. I mean, especially with Spectre out, it's very James Bond.
I've not seen Spectre. We can get onto that.
I saw it. Yeah, it's good.
What's our first order of business, John?
I don't know. What shall we pick on?
I think that
it's been quite a while, so all sorts of things have happened since. We've done sort of event stuff back in Easter with Richard, and EFRs has kind of fallen by the wayside. So where shall we start?
We could do individual updates. That usually works well.
John and John.
Yes, John, what have you been up to?
Well, at the moment we've got sort of Elite Force 2 playthrough going, but due to technical difficulties where the recording managed to miss out a bunch of the audio files, currently on a bit of a hiatus. It will resume once I sort of get the time to re-record all the bits that are broken. I'm also building a model Voyager at the moment, which is interesting.
What, in real life or CGI?
Let's cut to a different scene. So,
that is Earth Space Dock. That is
let me.
Good model.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the right screen.
Yeah, that's Earth.
There we go.
Oh, ooh.
It's quite nice. I like it.
So it's coming along. It had all the windows painted today, which were an absolute pain because they are so small and the brush doesn't really fit.
So is that like part of a kit, or is that something that you?
That is a Rebel Star Trek Voyager kit.
Wow,
it looks pretty nice.
That is a proper.
Looks really nice.
Yes,
how big is it?
It's a fair size considering that's a local newspaper it sat on top of, and that's just the saucer section.
Yeah. The Intrepid class starship is probably my second favourite starship. I really like the design.
After what?
The Galaxy class.
I suppose, but I quite like the Nebula class. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's got a bit going for it.
Discount Galaxy
It's
class.
pod, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, interchangeable, so very
it's got like
versatile.
1,000 torpedoes in its thing as well, which is great.
Well, that is the versatile bit. You could have it armed with torpedoes, or you could have it armed with sensor arrays.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, Richard, what have you been up to?
Well, as everyone knows, I run the Riser group, which includes Star Trek Riser and Star Wars Echo Base. I've just been continuing to really work on the sites, promote it, make sure everyone's aware of what we do, who we are, trying to promote things, being in contact with various different people. So it was just fantastic, really. That's pretty much it. That is my life at the moment, is Riser, doing updates, clearing up files and everything else. Luke, how about you?
Which Luke?
What am I facing?
Okay, that one. There.
Oh, have I not said something yet? I've forgotten whether I said something or not. Oh, okay. Well, hi, I'm Luke. I'm
Are you an alcoholic?
24. I'm not single. No. Basically, I do Star Trek Unity, which is a fan film series. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, is a web series made by fans of a licensed product. And in this case, it's a bit of an amalgamation of Star Trek, mostly Star Trek, and a few elements of Doctor Who, Wars, Battlestar, a few things here and there, but it's all mainly a Star Trek thing. It's all set in the Star Trek universe, and I've been doing it for pretty much 10 years, and it's hard work.
It's ending soon, is it not?
It's ending soon. It's been ending soon for about half the time it's existed.
But 6 years, yeah.
But nevertheless, it is, and we just recently released a new episode, There and Back Again, which is a bit of a fun little adventure to the original series with a couple of new characters. And this is just basically what I do. That's what I spend all my life doing. Richard does Riser, I do Unity. And it's really good fun. I get a lot of my friends involved, and several clips have been shown before on this DataStream.
Yeah.
Maybe another one could at some point. But yeah, Facebook.com/Star Trek Unity, all one word, check it out. So what's new? Well, that. And I've gone to a lot of conventions this year, a lot more cons than I usually go to. Of course, the vast majority of us met at Destination Star Trek London.
That's right.
And the one after that, of course, last year, which was great. And I sort of found that as an opportunity to not just go to that and the MCM Expos in London twice a year, but also a few more local conventions. Previously, I had stands for Star Trek Unity at my local sci-fi convention just down the road from me. But now I've also been on the move, going to all the ones I'm able to get to, because it's a really good atmosphere. And I've spoken before how it's good that nerd culture has a way to.
Will you be coming
as a
and
core.
joining me and Richard in February at one?
Well, it depends which one. Because I went to Brighton Film and Comic Con yesterday, and I'm pretty.
I think Richard's probably the best one to sort of talk about this one.
I've not heard about this. Please enlighten me.
Well, it's called First Contact Day, and it's in April, and it's around First Contact Day, funny enough.
I should hope so.
So it's, I think, next year it's on the 1st to the 3rd of April, which is like right over Easter weekend, so which is always nice. And this year it's in Telford. You've got big names coming like Garrett Wang, who's now my new best friend.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were sort of best buds with him.
Oh yeah.
I watched Timeless last night, actually, yeah.
I watched that a couple of weeks ago. It's a great episode. He's good in it. He shows his acting chops, and that's great.
Yes.
Yeah. He generally is a nice guy. We've also got Nana Visitor, J.G. Hetzler coming.
Excellent, yeah.
You know, loads of different Trek and non-Trek people as well. So this year's like their big year because obviously it's 50th anniversaries.
Yeah.
But yeah, and tickets are really cheap as well. You're only talking, oh god, I can't remember how much they are, but they're around about £10 to £30 at most.
Well, you say that, but then I have looked into this one, and the train tickets from where I live, which is down the south of England, is they're a little prohibitive. So I'm thinking about it. I have been looking into this one, and the guest list, as you say, is great. But I have to wait and see on whether I can afford it with all these budgets that I don't have for Unity.
Yes. Yes, that's good. Well, I suppose it's my updates now. Yes, a lot's changed since last year, I'll say that. My first wave of exams is over, which was hell and heaven at the same time. It was heaven once I reached the end of it. And I pulled through with 6 A's, which I was delighted with. It was originally 5 A's and a B, and the B was like, it was computing, right? And I'd done it a year early. It was like it was the next year's level I was doing a year early, if you know what I mean. Because because I know you lot run a different system to me. And I got a B, and I was annoyed since I was encouraged to do that in the first place, and I thought it was kind of my strong point. So I thought, okay, I didn't feel the exam had gone too badly, so I went, okay, I think I might ask to get this remarked. I did, and it became an A. I now have 6 A's, which I was very happy with. So all those months sitting in the dark, scribbling about maps and rivers and gibberish math equations was worth it. Yes, and sort of the summer arrived and I didn't really know what to do. It was just like, oh, I've got some time now. We should probably do a data stream. And then we didn't do a data stream, and then here we are now, thankfully. But that's...
Well, I think you deserve a round of applause. Come on, that's pretty good. Well
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing. I've got another sort of movie in the works. I've
been getting previews of this. It's good.
It's really creepy.
It's not Lego, is it?
It's not Lego. Not like last year. It's a live action one, and I've been given the green light to film it at my school, actually, which Luke doesn't know about yet. So I've been given the green light for that. I'm not sure when it'll be released. It'll be sometime next year. But yeah, filming will be. It's been underway. We filmed about 8.5 minutes of it, but the rest of it's going to be sort of at my school, which is a good location for the various things that are in it. I suppose any previews I could say it's a bizarre action comedy. It's called Insaniacs, and if I was to describe it in one word, zesty. That's me.
Is it going to be very long?
He's got a talent there. I don't know what it's for, but he's got a talent of some kind doing that.
Do I?
Is it going to be a very long one, or is it quite short?
It's a short film, but I think it's going to be longer. I hope it's going to be longer. I'm getting teacher cameos in it as well, which is quite nice to sort of incorporate them into my little group. And I'm not the main character. I'm not the bad guy this time, but I'm definitely not good either. I'm creepy. Let's just say that. So not much difference, but you know, that's it. So that's my update. What's next?
Shall we go about the fall of the F-Files next?
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay, right. Here's the thing,
It's
right?
not really your fault in any way, so.
No, but I feel like I feel like I am like the undead voice of this site because I think it was last admin. Here's what happened, right? A long time ago, there was a site called Elite Force Files, and it was the hub of Elite Force 1 and Elite Force 2, two very popular Star Trek video games from the early 2000s. And it supported modifications, extra maps, character models, lots of user-created content that really had a really strong community behind it. And IKS Yo Mama, I believe, was the administrator before me, and he eventually moved on to bigger and better things, and I took over. And my duties varied from changing the picture of the day to make sure, validating submitted files, play testing stuff, writing reviews. I really enjoyed that stuff. It was great. And as the years went by, of course, people moved on a bit, and they really have by now. I mean, I'm talking 2009, 2010. It's 2015 now.
Well, considering the original game came out around 2000, yeah.
It lasted a very long time, and I'm really proud of it.
It's the best Star Trek game ever made.
It probably is the best Star Trek game ever made, especially with all the DLC, as we would call it now.
Well, the original game was really good because you had a full cast.
Yeah, so the voice of all Voyager
games, I think, actually had a full cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. And I love the community.
2 had its flaws, but again, it was a really strong game and had a big following, especially from a certain user of Elite Force Files who kept making multiplayer versions of single-player maps that got no downloads ever. But he good on him. He had a permission and he converted the entire thing to multiplayer. But I don't think anyone ever played it. Anyway. And eventually I got locked out. The site had been going for so long that it just wasn't up to scratch for modern websites. It wasn't Flash based in any way. It was stuffed full of adverts. It wasn't. I wasn't able to log into the administration screen to actually do anything, and that was really when it started to die, because the sort of like head admins were able to change the picture of the day and validate files here and there, but they didn't have the time to write reviews or playtest stuff. And alongside that, other people were playing different games by this point. The role-playing community, RPGX and all that sort of thing, had sort of, even that, which had been very popular and really given the game a real second lease of life for a long time, even that was starting to fail. And the clans, well, there's only 1 or 2 clans now. And then, the other day, I was doing I still use Elite Force for Star Trek Unity. I use it as backgrounds, because some of they're nice backgrounds. Like, they're a bit pixelated.
Yeah, RPGX is good for that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, I need to download a file that I remember downloading ages ago. And I went on there. I went on to Elite Force files and found that it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And I for a moment, I just sort of thought, oh, hang on, let me just refresh it. Maybe it's a dead link. I need to go to, instead of typing EFFILES.com, maybe I'll try Elite Force files, maybe something like that. And then, but very quickly, I suddenly realised, come on, that's it, isn't it? That's the end.
Yeah, I was just randomly searching for, I think, Half-Life mods recently, and I realised like FileFront was gone. So then I said, "Well, please."
They put a statement out on the forum that they've taken all the microsites down, and instead it's just use the categories on the main download site.
Yeah, I tried even typing ef2.filefront.com, and I was like, "Oh, I need that so much," and it was I loved it.
It's a shame, because obviously it was a long time coming. I believe in 2009, I thought possibly 10. Maybe even before that, I can't quite remember. There was a big controversy when it got bought out, the company.
Yeah, you did an Elite Force review of this.
That was when we did the original run of EF Review, which...
Right, Elite Force Review, which John did. A little series we did just sort of about Elite Force, which you had a regular part on. But all the content was going to go then, and there was this great community effort to download everything, so everyone had their own personal store of all the mods. I've got DVDs stacked full of it somewhere, but then of course it got saved and it got a reprieve, but not much of a reprieve. It was still broken, and that's why they've stopped it now. It's just not, something had to be done.
For years there was one server which was kept serving bad pages, wasn't there? Yeah,
and the polls wouldn't ever work and all that sort of thing, but the files, you should still download files for the most part. It still serves as a community resource, and all good things. But we got to move on. I play games that are more modern than that, and I like revisiting Elite Force files. But the glory days of mods and all that sort of thing, and even towards the end of Elite Force Review,
SDO kind of serves the modern community with community content.
It does, but I have a problem with that. But that's not about this.
Yeah, me too.
But it was just such a good site. It was such a good sort of hub for the community.
Yep.
And although the files, at least the most downloaded files, will live on, and so they should, I reckon a lot of files have just been lost forever now, because they're not mirrored anywhere else. The creators have long gone. And, I mean, God, I don't even know if my Return of the Empty Crown mod for Elite Force 2, which I made back in the glory days, if I've even got that. Probably have it on DVD somewhere, but...
I think I've probably got a copy of that sat somewhere.
Well, you might have to send
really
it to me.
Because...
But, so that's what's happened, and it had a good history, and I'm probably rambling a bit about it, but I feel like it needs a bit of a eulogy, because...
Yep.
We all went on there, we all used it, we were all big fans of Elite Force. That's how we all sort of met each other. And,
yeah.
And although the game still lives on, and I play it, even outside of usually getting footage from it, I play it a couple of times a year.
There's still the Last Outpost, remember, though. That's a good community as well.
What a fitting name.
You said that at London 3 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah, I did. and it's all the more relevant now. I am on there. I'm not active on there. I might after this, in fact, go back on there and start annoying people again. That's what I do best.
They said I had the best accent they'd heard, so that's nice, I think.
Well, Scottish.
No, it's kind of three-quarter Scottish and a quarter English. That's my accent, just so you know.
It's good that you can divide that. It's good that someone can like give you a tricorder scan and determine that's the.
It's not that hard. My mum's half
ratio.
English and my father is full Scottish. It's not
Oh,
hard.
I see. That's how you do it. That's how you work out.
So,
I'm just well received pronunciation.
Yeah, I have impressions of all three of you in here, so yeah, you might hear those one day, but not now.
So that's Elite Force Files. It will rest in peace.
R.I.P. Yes. What's next?
Oh, shall we tackle some of the stuff we've been playing recently?
Okay, I'll start since I don't have very much. I've kind of, instead of stuff I've been playing, it's about what I'm going to hopefully be playing, because I am planning on building a PC at some point in the near future, because I've accumulated a hell of a lot of money. So I'm thinking of I've sort of studied on how to sort of, assemble the bits together, and it's nice because it's cheaper, first of all, and you can't build it wrong. If it doesn't go in that socket, it's not meant to. So I'm sort of looking forward to that. That'll be nice. And I don't know. I want to play the Valve games in their full glory again. Like Garry's Mod and Half-Life, of course. And where are you going, Luke? TF2.
No, plug my laptop in.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm planning on doing at some point. Richard, have you been playing anything?
I've been playing the new season of Star Trek Online. I was saying to the guys earlier how I basically finished that within 2 days, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good fun. It was nice to see obviously Chase Masterson reprise her role as Lisa in it, so that was quite good, and how they integrated that, so that was quite funny. For ages, unfortunately, my STO just would not work. There was a bug when they released season 11, which meant basically that they couldn't. It would load up the client thing, click on engage to load it up, and just would not load at all. So that was annoying, but managed to get it sorted, so that was good. That's pretty much it. I've been working any other times, so I haven't been able to play anything else really. I have
a common theme, isn't it, that we grow up and we have no time. That's why we've not done this in so long. This is what it is. If you're younger, right, and Luke, you should pay attention to this a little bit, right? If you're younger and you're watching this, make the most of it. Enjoy it, because you don't have any time. Sorry, Richard, carry on.
What I was going to say is I managed to rediscover Bridge Commander. I managed to play that a little bit, so that was good fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Have you played any of the mods for it, or were you just playing the base game?
Kobayashi Maru mod.
That's a good mod. That's the best mod, the Bridge Commander.
Yeah,
I tended to couple it with the Stargate mod as well.
Yeah, of course. And this is another thing about Filefront and about Elite Force Files, because it wasn't just Elite Force Files. BC Files, Starfleet Command Files. God, I didn't even think of that until this second. Armada Files.
Yeah,
That's
Armada.
that's my teenage years in a nutshell.
All the classic Trek games.
Yeah.
And many other titles, because of course you had all the old Star Wars Jedi Academies and all sorts of other titles hidden away in there.
Luckily, I think most of that's probably available elsewhere, but yeah, Bridge Commander's a great game. I loved it.
Yeah,
And-
it's really weird. Like all the character models are really creepy and sort of like long and like skeletons. But yeah, it is good. It's kind of nice. I like the sort of older style of Elite Force, that sort of era. I love the sort of blocky faces and the sort of mouths which sort of have sort of three states of being open and closed. It's like, hey Monroe. I kind of loved in Elite Force. Whenever you got in someone's way, it's like, out of my way. Move it! Out of the
Neelix
way!
would do it. If you're in the kitchen in the mess hall, and you get in Neelix's way, he'll just go up to you like this. And I used to like go his first person perspective. Just go up to him, like he'd just be like, "Excuse me, excuse me," and then he'd do that thing where he just goes.
I think Sugar Angry had the better voice on that one.
The thing is,
Excuse me.
I always love. I'm a bit of a psychopath, so occasionally, if I got in someone's way in the corridor and they shouted at me like "out of my way," I would literally go on a killing spree and then sort of reload. It's like, okay, I'm calm now. Okay, no one get in my way.
Yeah, you see unlimited beam-ins, and then even if you killed them all, the game would end.
Yeah, you get
It's
to
a shame
turbo.
that. I wish we
You get
could
to
have done-
turbo if you wake up in the brig and then someone comes along and makes fun of you.
Wasn't there a cheat code that you could actually enter to change your faction that it didn't end the game?
I don't know. There were obviously quite a few commands that we used to play around with. I know that you used to turn off God mode. If you had God mode on, you killed someone, it would turn off God mode and they could still kill you. But then you could turn it back on again really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was a pro at that. Just self-destruct the ship. It's great.
Self-destructing the ship.
Although it's a bit lame because there'd be an explosion and then like the map
Yeah,
would
the bridge is still there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I never really found that.
Thing is, everyone's screams are really harrowing. It's like, "Ah!" And then there's the explosion, and you feel extremely guilty. And it's like, why did they put this in? Why did
Well,
they let you
exactly.
blow up Voyager?
Well, because it's something to do, and also, frankly, like I don't think would they all scream if you're being exploded. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
it's
you wouldn't have time.
yeah.
What about you, John? What was that game we saw earlier on?
Well, let's go. I've had a bit of an opportunity to play a couple of games recently. I've got into STO again since the launch of the new season because, of course, they gave away a few goodies, so I tried to grab those after noticing them. But I'm still all the way back in the Delta Quadrant playing that season. So
Oh right,
I've got a bit
really
of catching
strong.
up to do at the moment.
It's really good though that the sort of Delta Quadrant season. That's a really good sort of string of stories that you can unlock and play. It's like quite a few episodes.
It is really long compared to sort of some of the other ones you can sort of see in the available levels.
It's longer than what's to come. Season 10 and Season 11 were awful.
Really?
At least in terms of how many numbers of episodes.
Hmm.
I haven't played STO in a while. My only problem with it's like a good MMO. I was saying this earlier, but it's kind of like I wish someone would make an MMO which was like RPGX inside, but just online. If you know what I mean. You feel kind of disconnected from your STO character.
I'm afraid we're having a few technical problems with Sugar Angry at the moment.
He's
I
a
think
bit
he's got to
disconnected
wind up the
himself, I
hamster
think.
cage.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. How about I put
Let
my
it
camp
correct
off
itself.
back on?
Oh.
I've
Oh, he's
reappeared.
gone. Is he back?
I don't know. He's a loading screen.
I have a loading screen.
Wow, he's a good shapeshifter, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, the clip I sort of showed somebody earlier, which I will reprise a second, is something which has got into quite a bit of time recently, which is Cities Skylines. Basically, it's a large city builder game, which, above everything else, is more of a traffic simulator, in that you've got to try and keep your roads moving while building up everything. So,
Is it
traffic
like
lights and
SimCity?
roundabouts are the keys.
Is it like SimCity or?
It is like SimCity. It is very well praised on various sites, and they've recently released the After Dark expansion, which adds some more buildings and a day-night cycle. So your city will change depending on the time of day.
And how new is this game? When was it published?
Oh, it's a fairly recent game.
It looked quite. The graphics look quite good on it. It
the
looked quite nice.
graphics are nice, and it all works with Steam Workshop, so there are a huge number of mods. If you look back at that clip I just showed, it looks very sort of British houses because I've put in various community mods. On my later games, I've even got things like Royal Mail vans driving around the city. It's sort of, you can pick what you want.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice aesthetic.
So yeah, you could even make your own sort of supermarket retail parks and all sorts. You could go get a proper Asda or Tesco's or something.
You could recreate your hometown.
Oh yeah, people have tried with it. There trains in there as well. So you got all these different train stations. It's got underground buses, taxis. It's a huge sort of game, and you can easily sink in a good few hours trying to build it all up. And also, Drugger and Reese kind of heard me doing this the other night. Digging through a pile of CDs, I came across some old stuff, so I managed to find an old Lego game. So,
oh, yes!
Yes, Rock Raiders.
An energy crystal has been found.
He's going to be annoying now, isn't he? Basically, it's an old Lego game, which is kind of Minecraft-ish in that you've got to mine stuff, but
it's better.
Not as complex at all, because there's only two things you can find, and it's nice how you got the sort of strategy view and the first-person view.
From the same era as Elite Force and everything. That's part of my childhood. I love Rock Raider.
And it does still work on a modern PC.
You can't say that about some of the Trek games.
It is on a tiny resolution, but still plays. I have actually posted a couple of screenshots up on the site about it. As well.
Fantastic, yeah. Yes. Oh. I have a bit of news, actually. I forgot to mention. I've mentioned it to a couple of you. Richard doesn't know anything about this. I have been doing a bit of acting. And I've been, well, to put it simply, I have been in a movie and 2 TV shows. Okay, I'm resisting there to do a certain hand gesture at you. Look, but anyway.
Well, hopefully you look better than a pixelated block in them.
Yes, I do, John. Well, actually...
that's Scottish internet for you.
Anyway, the movie I was in was called Tommy's Honor, and it was directed by Sean Connery's son, Jason Connery. And basically, it's about golf, and it'll be out in cinemas next year. And you will see me in a marketplace scene with a moustache on, carrying a tray of bread. You will see me at a sort of spectator, as a spectator at a golf game, sort of, shouting, "Go on, Tommy, I get him," that sort of thing. So, that was that. And a little exciting thing from that was, have you all seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
I have. And
yes,
you know what? It's so good that within the range of my hand, I have the Blu-ray.
Okay. Well, John, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
I have.
Right. Well, the sort of there's the bit in it with the collector. It's got all this stuff. I've told Luke this already. And he has a pink slave girl called Karina. She grabs the gem and it blows everyone up. And she's one of the main characters in Tommy's Honor, and she spoke to me on set, which was nice of her, I think. Yeah, that was lovely of her. She was really nice. Her name is Ophelia Lovibond, which is a very Shakespearean kind of name. But yes, that was good fun. I didn't know it was her at the time, and I got home and I sort of went, who were all those actors? Sort of looked them up and I was like, oh, she's the crazy pink one from Guardians. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. The other thing I was in, little drama thing. There was a little drama thing. There's something else called The Secret Agent, which was like a Joseph Conrad novel or something, and they're making it into a 3-part BBC drama starring Toby Jones, from he's Dobby in Harry Potter, and he's the Dream Lord in Doctor Who. All those there, and Arnim Zola in the Marvel universe. Yeah, he was there. He spoke to me briefly as well. He was sort of the second day I did it. It was very rainy. And we were in a field all day, and it was long, wet grass, and it was horrible conditions. And at the end, he just went, "Oh yeah, good job, guys." so that was nice. And I spent sort of half my time sort of in my scenes. Like there was a bit where I had to push a barrel up against the wall, and we did about 10 takes of this. So it's a long day. And in his scene, he's walking straight past me, so you'll definitely see me in that. And I deliberately did it so I sort of like you can see me looking at him, if you know what I mean, in the scene. You can see my character sort of looking at him. I'm just an extra, of course. I should point that out.
So it's something we can freeze on the DVD, yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, there was a sort of phrase among some of the weirder extras called screen whoring. So basically, that's when you sort of try to get yourself into the shot as much as possible, which is good fun. So yeah, all of those stuff, various things I've been doing will be out next year. So I'm pretty sure we'll have a DataStream for that. Please go and see Tommy's Honor, directed by Jason.
We will.
Was
it sort of when you got into this? Was it through like an agent, or how was it established that you could get a role in this? How would you go about it?
2 years ago, I signed up with a sort of casting agency which is based in Glasgow, so it's obviously not too far away from me. And what they do is it's basically an extras agency. So anything that's being filmed in Scotland or nearby will sort of contact the agency saying, "Oh, we're looking for extras," and if they want somebody with my sort of specifications, then they'll say, "Okay, look, can you do this on this day?" So and so. It's all very last minute, of course. And when I signed up 2 years ago, I got 2 jobs in that time because I was under 16. And you're technically not an adult at that stage, so there's all the kind of legal implications of a chaperone and things. So as soon as I turned 16, that's me with sort of a bunch of jobs this year, and the money's pretty good as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I think I was quite.
Yeah, I might give that a shot myself. See what's going on in the south coast.
Yes,
no, that's good.
Have a look. Have a look. Have a look.
I work with someone who's Scottish, and she always says, "Now look here," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, that's like class
You
teacher.
Scots.
When like teachers are shouting at the class at my school, it's like, "Right, look," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, all right, okay, everyone, yeah." So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I'll keep you all updated about that. I think that's everything now. I don't know why I didn't open with that, but yeah.
I was gonna say because I thought when you were saying when you said, "Oh, that's everything from me," I thought I didn't mention it. But I thought, "No, hang on, you've been doing something else that's quite big, though, haven't you?" But there we go. Well, I have been playing quite a few games. I've been playing the new Star Trek Online season, as it's called. It's not that big. There's not much to it.
So I was
saying there's nothing. Yeah, I haven't played it all yet.
Well, there are a little bits of other things, like there's the new Admiralty system, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's basically just the DOF system again. But yeah, no, it is basically you're in the Admiralty system. Once you reach Admiral rank, you can use the other ships that you have had during your career and send them off on missions to collect.
Which is pretty awful if they're all side ships.
I haven't played too much, but there is that, and then there's a few new episodes which have been very good, but they're just few and far between. The Mirror Universe stuff is good fun, but there's not much to it. There's not much substance to it. So you could see Chase Masterson again.
It's a bit like In a Mirror Darkly, then.
It's really good fun, but it's not like ever going to be that deep, I don't think. In addition, I've been playing a lot of games on Steam. Steam, of course, being sort of like the next generation of Elite Force files, because that's where user-generated content goes now. That's
Steam Workshop, yeah.
That's the modern version of doing it.
And so many games now support Workshop.
Indeed, Gmod, which was mentioned earlier, being one of them. I've played a lot of Gmods this year. I've played a lot of Prop Hunt, which is really good fun. Something quite casual to play. I know Luke's joined me once or twice. And I've also been playing quite a lot on my PS4. I've been playing Brothers, which was really a really wonderful independent game about 2 brothers that you control, and they have to work together to find a cure for their dying dad, which is really quite a sweet tale. Gets quite dark in places, but it's unique and it's very much worth playing. It's out on Steam or PS4 if you want to get it, as I have. I've been playing WWE 2K16, which came out last week. Really good fun. big WWE wrestling fan, as you can probably tell. But really, the main game that's captured my heart, and possibly for a second year in a row will probably capture Game of the Year for me,
Yeah.
Destiny. Who made a noise and why?
That was Richard.
Explain.
I didn't make a noise.
Okay then.
Are
My
you
mic
being
is
distracted
beautiful.
by other things on your screen?
No, I've got my phone torch on to add some more light, because otherwise I go quite dark.
Oh, it looks like there's an alien invasion taking place.
You got a big shadow. Your hair is a shadow. Or your ear is. I'm not quite sure
It's
what that
because
is.
of his
yeah.
glasses.
Glasses.
I get the feeling this will appear in a sort of trailer for John's channel at some point, you know.
No, I
I
think the
just do that,
stuff
will
we
it be
did
alright?
before we actually started probably would be the stuff that will make it into the next reel. But there hasn't really been much happening this year on the channel, so... not
Well,
sure.
here's an opportunity to get
It's
some
going
more.
to be very different.
Anyway, this is Destiny. This is the Taken King. I got the original base game last year when it first came out. It is a sci-fi shooter developed by the same people, Bungie, who developed Halo originally. And it's about, basically, in the far, far, far future, Earth has been destroyed by, well, desolated, because it's still there, by a faceless enemy called the Darkness, and only this mysterious sphere-like traveller, this alien contraption, saved us, and now we use its power to go out into the solar system and reclaim our golden age. It's quite a simple, quite mythic, almost like a old legend, like King Arthur. It's told with quite mythic proportions, and we are all knights on missions to save our homeland, Earth, from evil kings. And it's really good fun. It's one of those slightly grindy games, but it is a massively multiplayer online RPG, or some people would even argue that they call it open world, but it is multiplayer. And I've been sinking a lot of time into it, playing it with friends on PS4. It's a really good fun game, worth a play if you have a chance to play it. It's out on Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. I won't go on too much of a rant about it, but it's worth checking out. I've sunk countless hours into it. It's really good fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've not checked it out. I have to say, my favorite game series of all time is still Half-Life, which, of course, led to Elite Force. Elite Force was inspired by Half-Life's sort of the style of it, and the sort of whole first-person thing. So, no, it's, you know, the strange thing is, it was one of the sort of the forefront of the kind of modern first-person shooters, if you know what I mean.
Half-Life, the original, and Elite Force were both built on the same engine, weren't they?
Yeah, it was Half-Life was a heavily modified version of the Quake engine.
That's right.
They called it the Gold Source engine. I love that engine; it's great. But yes, I kind of think it's such a unique way of telling a story, by not having any cutscenes, by having you completely in this sort of situation for the entirety of it.
It's very immersive.
And of course, the original story was remade in Black Mesa, within the Source engine, so you get this lovely environment to replay it again.
Yeah, you've got a lot of remasters of games lately, and that's one of those really nice ones where you know they're not going to change anything. They did it with Halo a few years ago, with the sort of like the anniversary edition. And of course, that's the thing. We're getting fewer and fewer new games like this. We're getting more remakes and new versions like this.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have somewhere in between. It's nice to have like a new take on the same game, but updating it so that new players can play it. I think older PC games could benefit from that as well, and that's why stuff like Steam is quite good.
I have to say that I still prefer the original Half-Life, just because of I like the whole tone that the sort of old graphics were. I think the technical limitations are something that actually make it the experience it is. I think it's because of how they sort of worked around all the problems and dealt with it. They really sort of paved the way to where we are now.
And
So,
you got to
yeah.
have 2 add-ons to play as well. You had, I'm trying to remember the names of them. You had Blue something, or it was something
Blue Shift and Opposing Force.
Sorry?
Blue Shift and Opposing Force.
There you go.
And yeah, ask me about Half-Life. Just do it. Yeah, I love Valve. I love Valve so much. I think they're a bit more about money nowadays to do with multiplayer games and things, but I'm still faithful to them.
Team Fortress 2 is amazing. That's something that's always going to be around. And of course, Portal has made its own mark. They just make really fantastic games. But Luke, do you think they'll ever be able to count to 3?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I got excited earlier this year because they were at some kind of convention thing, and they said, "Oh, we're going to make a huge announcement on the 3rd of March at 3:30 or something like that." Yeah. So it was a bunch of 3s. We thought, oh, everyone went crazy thinking, oh, Half-Life 3 is going to be announced, and they announced Source Engine 2. So yeah.
I think that's possibly what's called a troll. I'm not sure, but
It's hopefully a step closer, since I think the problem with them is they're too they wanted to get. Remember, they were doing this sort of episodic trilogy for Half-Life 2. They were episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, and then they'd sort of see how it would go from there. Well, they made episode 2 and ended it on a huge cliffhanger, and we were all expecting sort of episode 3 maybe 2008. And then it never turned up and I'm presuming what happened is they were trying to make it the absolute best finale they could have. And I think what happened was they spent too long in it and went, okay, screw it, let's just go and make a full Half-Life 3. So I think that's probably just what happened, the thought cycle that went behind it. So yeah, I hope. I'm 16 years old now. If I live for another 70 years, if I'm lucky, hopefully that gives them enough time.
I hope so. But it's one of those memes, of course, that when we're going to get it, it'll be never. It would be nice. Half-Life 2 is a great game, and it would be nice for that story to have a proper conclusion. That's what I really hate about a lot of modern TV shows and cliffhangers. It's all right to do a cliffhanger, but make sure there's an end to it. Make sure there's a payoff. And that's such a shame that with a lot of games.
Shall we talk about TV in any way?
You know what? I think we should probably talk about TV because
this is going to make this a long podcast stream.
I do have to go soon, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick around for this because, out of nowhere, like an RKO, we have
a new Star Trek series, January 2017.
Wow. What? Who expected that? We all thought.
We do now know it's not going to be Captain Worf.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because the Star Trek Renegades fan film and stuff like Captain Worf, and there have been a couple of other ones that have been proposed, and they were never going to make it, and it's a shame. Renegades is good in its own way. I'm sure we could have another podcast to talk about that actually, because that had a bit of controversy behind it. But stuff like that and Captain Worf, they're nice ideas that we'd all, as fanboys, like to see. But I think it's time. I think it would have to be. I'm glad it's happening this way. I'm glad it's going to be something completely different, in a way, and I hope it's in the Prime universe. I know I know it won't be.
You know what? I there are feelings of excitement when something like that's announced, but I do also have my reservations, mainly due to the fact that I could live with one set in this alternate universe, except for the fact that you're not really going to be able to do much differently, if you know what I mean. That is predictable. And another thing is, the executive producer is what's his name?
Alex Kurtz.
Yeah, Alex Kurtzman, that's it. Who's co-writer of the 2 new Star Trek films. The first Star Trek film is a nice reinvigoration of the sort of the Star Trek world for, general audiences, which is fine. Into Darkness, however, for me, is a slightly different story in the way that the directing, the acting, the sets, the visual effects, everything about it is brilliant, apart from the writing, in the way that half of it doesn't seem to really make much sense, and it's kind of an excuse for Benedict Cumberbatch to use his voice. It's basically, I always use this metaphor when describing Into Darkness. Give me the torpedoes, or there'll be an action scene. So that's how it usually goes with me. So I kind of felt like Into Darkness was a step back. I think they dumbed it down a bit too much for my liking, and if it's a whole new universe, if that was the whole point, why did they suddenly decide to just reverse Wrath of Khan? That was my only quibble with that. So as long as this is a Star Trek series, and it's for the fans, I think that's the most important thing. They should make it for the fans, but also accessible for new audiences. I will give it a shot.
But to access it, you have to pay money for a network. At least in the United States. In other countries, it might be on broadcast television, it might not be, or we don't know yet. But they're definitely going down the Netflix route a little bit, if not in name, which might give them a bit more creative freedom. They wouldn't have like the ratings issues, perhaps.
Like Enterprise, yeah.
Right, exactly. I'm excited. I'm glad it's going to come back. I mean, I've got my feelings about the new Star Trek universe with the new Star Trek films, and they're mixed in different ways. I really like the films.
Yeah, they're enjoyable.
But I think I don't know. I'm very excited, but I don't really know what to speculate.
I'm cautious. Yeah, I'm cautious.
I just don't know, but I am really excited. I mean, it is a big announcement. We didn't think we'd ever hear this for a long time, at least not until the 3 films were out. So, what a way to kick off the 51st year, I guess, of Star Trek. Potentially. Who knows? I'm sure we'll know a bit more in 6 months' time, and we'll be able to have another data stream to discuss it. But that's a big announcement to end it on, I guess.
Not the only Star franchise coming back. I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure we've all seen those trailers. Yeah,
I saw it in the cinema when I saw Spectre, and I'd seen it like. I work at school, and I just had to put it on the projector in the classroom to see it the first day it came out. But it looks glorious, and again, who knows? It could be as bad as Phantom Menace for all we know. A trailer can tell a lot of lies. But
J.J. Abrams, he made Star Trek like Star Wars, so I doubt he will make the reverse mistake with Star Wars. So,
hopefully it will be a good reintroduction to a universe that, even though we're all Trekkies...
One of my neighbours back in the 70s, and they were filming the original one, her name's Harriet, she was in the Tunisian desert while they were filming the scenes there. And they needed somebody to go in the sort of C-3PO costume for a couple of the walking scenes, right? So she was the right measurements for this. So in a couple of those shots, that's her walking across the sort of sand dunes. And in that opening scene, if you remember, there's a sort of silver droid in the background who looks like C-3PO. That's her as well. And J.J. Abrams invited her onto the new movie, actually. I know this sounds like BS, but it's not. I promise you this is genuine. So yeah, one of my neighbors was in the new Star Wars movie because my brother pestered her about it, which is kind of weird.
That's wonderful. And for the returning cast, I know not all of them were into Star Wars. Like they got, Star Wars fans can be a bit obsessive, just like our fans can be. But how nice it must be for the older actors to come back, and how exciting for people like Simon Pegg, who are in it, albeit under alien makeup potentially, just to be involved in that part of history. That's something that Star Wars does better than a lot of things. been part of cinema history. So that's a really good story. I'm very jealous of your contact.
I actually I turned down an opportunity. I turned down some garden jobs for her the other day because I had lots of work to do, so I felt a bit guilty about that. But yes, I've mentioned Stuart Kelly several times, have I not? The author guy who lives in the road from me. He reviewed one of JJ's books. Sort of did a review of it for, I don't know what paper it was for, but JJ Abrams just emailed him saying, "Oh, thanks for your review of the book. You really understood it and everything. So thanks very much." And it's just like, I live in a creepy village. And
a series which I wouldn't have seen anyway. So digging through the Amazon video library, because of course there's going to be series appearing on there that they're commissioning over a few years. I came across the 100, which I found a really interesting series to watch. Anyone else seen it?
I've not seen it.
I've heard of it.
It's kind of a survival political show. So it's quite interesting. When you're the last of the human race and the planet was decimated generations ago, how do you survive? And that's how the series goes. And there's
How's it political?
Sorry?
In what way is it political?
The characters, you've got all the sort of chain of command, and you have stuff happen.
Wasn't it kind of
I don't really want to spoil it by saying anything else about it.
Yeah.
But it
John, I heard
is
the premise
quite
of it was,
interesting because you're thinking about who's got which alliances and things.
Yeah. I seem to remember the premise of it was it's 100 of the sort of delinquents of society or something like that. Am I right?
Not quite. They are really strict. It's a space station in orbit of Earth. They are really, really strict about anyone who breaks any of the rules because they just don't have the resources and things to spare.
Yeah, okay.
And that's on Amazon, is it?
Yeah, that is on Amazon Prime. I believe it is also available through Netflix.
Oh, I have that. I could do that. Ooh,
See,
okay.
the tricky thing with I'm not the biggest fan of all these shows being sort of made for these own little things. I know it allows sort of creative freedom if you're doing a Netflix show and you don't have to rely on
No,
ratings.
I believe this is a proper series. It's just the delivery method I've used.
Oh yeah. That's yeah. I'm meaning ones that are like exclusive to it, like Daredevil, which are apparently fantastic. But it's like I just want to find it, pick it up, and
Yeah, but this is the future of TV. It's on demand. It won't be broadcast.
Oh, just
That's
think
the
about
thing.
BBC Three when that goes online only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it won't just be Netflix. I mean, eventually everyone will have Netflix. Everyone will have Amazon, and everyone will have stuff like the WWE Network, which I
No
have.
social lives.
Oh, I've already barely got one. But yeah, I mean, I don't think TV will go away. I don't think broadcast TV will go away. It will still be there. But I think there'll be a much more emphasis on the Netflix model, shall we say.
Yeah.
Stuff
You
like
can
iPlayer.
choose what you want.
On demand. And I do that. After this, I'm going to go and watch Doctor Who on demand. So, you know.
Yeah, I tried to watch it yesterday on iPlayer. Unfortunately, the system decided to crash out while I was watching, and all the audio went out of sync. Tried to resume it, and it wanted me to start from the beginning again.
I managed to watch it yesterday on BBC iPlayer. But, yeah.
And that's the thing, see? I've caught, only 2 of the episodes live, I think? Something like that. This series.
I've
I feel bad for the ratings, but I'm a big fan. I just have a life.
They do
I think
tie
that's
the
it.
iPlayer ratings into sort of the final result now.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
only the overnight ratings. The problem is the time slot as well, which I think. But I think we're straight.
There's a certain
Wasn't there a complaint about the time slot from one of the
Capaldi did it,
actors?
yeah.
Capaldi, yeah, he was like, "Oh, I think it's on too late."
Well, he's right.
Yeah,
It should be
he's
7
right.
o'clock. It should be around 7. It shouldn't be after 8.
Well, you go back into one of those arguments about TV itself, the prime time schedule, when you have stuff of different time lengths, all fluctuating schedules.
Yeah, and you'd have to compete as well with like the X Factor and that. I understand, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well-
those sort of wars don't always benefit the viewer.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to segue into something here, which looks like the fate of TV isn't something that Back to the Future 2 predicted. Go.
You know, I've never seen Back to the Future 2 or 3. I've seen the first one. I've seen the first one, and it's an amazing film. I love it. I've just never got around to seeing the second or third, so I this sort of passed me by a bit, really. But I mean, good for it. I have all due respect for Back to the Future. From what I've seen of it, of the first film, and I've watched that multiple times, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
the
second one's fantastic, and the third one's satisfying. It's not as good, but it's a nice ending.
Right.
Yes, no, that's one of my favourite films of all time. Back to the Future. It's so good. I love it.
Well, one thing they did sort of predict was video chat, like we've got now.
And terrible clothing.
Then again, they did also predict fax machines everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they did predict a few things. Some things are right, like terrible clothing. Yes, it's although I think they kind of expected the 80s to kind of continue, if you know what I mean.
well,
Yeah.
I think quite a few media outlets did do sort of the comparisons of what was predicted and what we actually have.
Yeah.
So, if you really want to see that, there should be plenty of sort of articles to read.
Yes, they were right about the sort of I don't know what I was going to say. You get that?
You don't talk about flying
It's
cars.
obvious. I think what is important to remember is you have this suspense of disbelief in anything you watch, anything fictional. That's why we get emotional about sad scenes and why we cheer for heroes in Star Wars and stuff like that, right? But and it's really, really, really difficult to predict the future. Star Trek did it in a different way to how most films do it because the sheer concept, the sheer premise of it. But when you get films like Back to the Future and it's all well and good, but obviously it's never going to be like it really is.
It's
really.
what looks good for the screen.
It is. It's absolutely about that. And also, I think what can be entertaining and what you can get out of it is sort of like a funny sort of idea of what they thought the future might be like. Not in a mocking way, but it's really interesting to think, oh, okay, so we're in the year 1985 or whatever. Ooh, I wonder what it'll be like in 20, 30 years.
Well, the thing is, they were right about all the 80s nostalgia. There's the bit in the second one where he's in the cafe and it's on the screen. It's like this, it's all the 80s nostalgia sort of talking, welcome to the cafe 80s, So
there is a bit of that.
There is a bit.
And obviously, perversely, fiction has become reality. Those Pepsi bottles, those limited edition Pepsi bottles that came along, and the hoverboards,
The self-tying shoes. Michael J. Fox.
Yes, all these things have been invented for the celebration. Although the hoverboard is something that's sort of happening, isn't it?
Not quite hovering, but
kind of
it's what
levitating.
people are calling them.
Yeah, and I mean, blimey, that's the future is now.
To be honest, in the long run, the Star Trek future would be nice, but if it's going to be anything like anything that's in Star Trek, I get the feeling we would most likely end up with something like the Terran Empire.
So, if you want the Star Trek timeline to happen, does that mean we've got to go through the Third World War?
Oh, yes, ostensibly, yes. But do you know what? I don't think there's going to be a big nuclear war, I don't know, but there's going to be some sort of crunch, I think, at some point in this century, because we're going down quite a liberal road of, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a Third World War, but I think it's going to go down. Something's going to go down.
That's terrifying, yeah.
Yeah, let's enjoy that. I might have to leave this wonderful...
It sounds like a good place to round it off, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully there'll be another one soonish.
It will not be another 12 months.
Hopefully.
It won't be another 12 months. We can assure you of that. But yeah, I don't. If you want to guys carry on, that's fine. I don't want to like interrupt your train of thought. I just
I'm
as we
looking at
discussed
the
earlier, we
far
just have
side
busy
of
lives.
this, and it
There is
is
work to
getting
do,
big.
food to be eaten. So
All I want to do is go and take a selfie. To be honest, the future is now.
well, that was yes. Thank you for watching the data stream again, everyone. I hope you're still watching it. Bye.
Right.